Okay, everybody, welcome to the perfect digital strategy for 2019. In this webinar, we are looking to tackle the very difficult question of what is the perfect digital marketing strategy? And that can be hard. There's a lot of different types of business models online. There's news sites. There are lead generation sites. There's e-commerce sites. There's branding sites. There's FAQ sites. And they all have different business models. And there's so many different ways to advertise nowadays. And I think that is one of the main differentiators of the digital marketing landscape from today opposed to 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. There's just so many different places you can get a return. So at this point in time, digital strategy has never been more important. You could be putting all your money into Facebook, all of your money into LinkedIn, all of your money into SEO, all your money into email marketing, and you could also, on the other end of the spectrum, have a diversified portfolio where you understand the contribution of every single channel. And that is what we're looking to get into today. So we're going to dive into that shortly. But before we do, I'd like to take a second and just kind of introduce the people who are on the line. So first, that's me. I'm on the left-hand side. My name's John Lincoln. I'm CEO of Ignite Visibility. We've been running the company for about 6 years now, one of the fastest growing companies in San Diego the last 3 years in a row, an Inc. 5000 company last 2 years in a row, and I am personally a digital marketing expert. I absolutely love this stuff. And have won a couple awards in this space and things like that. I've been doing this for about 16 years now. We also have Alan Bush on the line. Alan, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Alan Bush. I'm the VP of Operations and the head of SEO here at Ignite Visibility. I too have been in the space for about 12 years. I've been at Ignite for about 4 of the years, so I've been the majority of the time here. And also, I also been an instructor of SEO and web analytics at the University of California, San Diego.
Awesome. Thanks, Alan. And if anybody wants to learn more about SEO, Alan's got a great class there, web analytics and SEO, which is really highly rated. Dustin, would you like to go ahead and say hello?
You bet. Dustin Bailey here. I've been in digital marketing quite some time. Through the course of my career, I've worked at a large search engine in San Francisco as a business strategy manager for Fortune 500 companies. I grew up a well-known e-commerce brand from less than 10 million a year to over 100 million a year in sales. And here at Ignite Visibility, I'm head of email marketing, helping people reach their full marketing potential through email.
Thank you, Dustin. Samia, would you like to say hi?
Yes, it's great to be here. And my name is Samia France, the Director of Digital PR and Social Media at Ignite Visibility. I oversee our team here, a great team, and we build and maintain media relationships. I've been in the space for over 11 years now. My background is in bringing in Hispanic markets into the U.S. and garnering interest from them, from brands such as Cirque du Soleil, Ringling Brothers, Beauty Bakery, you name it.
Thanks, Samia. And then last but definitely not least, Aether, would you like to say hello and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Aether. I've been with Ignite Visibility almost 5 years now, helping grow the paid media department from 0 to the 25 million plus ad spend annually that we manage here at Ignite across Google AdWords, Facebook, Bing, Amazon, and display, and a number of other platforms. Prior to that, I was the director of paid search at another digital marketing agency for a couple of years, and also worked at a well-known agency in Los Angeles, and started my career in Seattle at an advertising technology company called Marchex.
Awesome. Thanks so much, everybody. So we've got some really great panelists on today, and we're going to tackle what is the perfect digital strategy. This is our agenda, so we're going to try to really do kind of a top-level overview of every single channel. But before we do that, we're going to get into kind of how digital strategy works and how CMOs and marketers should be thinking about things like that. We're also going to get into new technologies to watch. And then at the end, we're going to give you a sneak peek of something called Ignite Visibility 3.0, which is our new system for services that we're offering at the company, and we'll explain more about that. A little bit about us, if you don't know. We teach a couple courses at UC San Diego. We've about 59 employees, 150 clients now. We're a Google certified premium partner. Google is coming to our offices very often nowadays, as well as Facebook and Bing, which is really fun to get to connect directly with those companies and offer best-in-class services to our clients. But really, we're a digital marketing agency with a focus on paid media, SEO, social media marketing, email, and conversion rate optimization. We've won a couple awards, such as the #1 SEO company and #1 PPC company. Personally, I was Search Marketer of the Year in 2017. And we've had a couple other cool awards, such as best places to work and things like that. But really, it's all about defining the goal and then creating the strategy that supports that specific online business goal. And this webinar is really meant for the CMO, the marketing manager, the business owner, or the general digital strategist looking to set budgets and understand the impact of each channel. We're not going to go super deep into anything. We're going to show you all the possibilities that are out there and try to give you an idea of the exact percentages that should align with each one of those channels and sources and mediums so that you can understand where you can scale. So we're going to look to define the elements of the perfect digital marketing strategy, and we're going to go through each channel, but then also at the end, we're going to show you just a little bit of Ignite Visibility 3.0. So when it comes to a digital marketing strategy, the most important thing is to first define the business goal and then the personas that align with those goals. And then what you're going to want to do is create a forecast for each channel. So what's the strategy, the traffic, the conversion rate, the conversions, and the ROI for every single channel. And we've never been able to do this before, really accurately plot the goal and then the strategy for each channel with real numbers within a budget and a timeline to help a client get to that exact goal that they're looking for. This is much different than it was back when it was just, TV and radio and newspaper. Now in the new digital landscape, real actionable data that we can see within a real-time dashboard, a monthly report, and a quarterly report allows us to determine what's working, what's not, and then to scale in the right direction. So anybody in marketing really needs to understand this top-level approach, not just one channel, but for every single channel, what are those exact numbers? So I'm going to get into that a little bit more, but when you're thinking about the overall digital marketing strategy, this is kind of what it could look like from a top level perspective. And we're going to drill down much more into this, but publishing articles every single week, refreshing your most important pages so you're getting more of that SEO traffic, running Facebook ads and targeting new audiences, Google ads, display ads, YouTube ads, Instagram ads, LinkedIn ads, making sure that you're on every single one of those channels and you understand how much traffic, the click-through rates, the conversion rates, and then the ROI around each one. Further converting those with pop-ups, sending out press releases and doing studies quarterly, and then growing your social media following consistently, doing online media buys, refining your conversion process, having a remarketing strategy when everybody comes to your site so that you're hitting them consistently, and then using those to build similar audiences, lookalike audiences, and defining your ideal customer upsell process along that entire journey for each customer. So these are 15 things that we're going to dive deeper into, but what's really interesting is when you look at this list, it looks a little bit overwhelming, but for me and working with a lot of different clients, I strongly feel that every online business should be doing 80 to 90% of the things on this list. And through this webinar, we want to help you determine what is that 80% and which of those 80% are going to have the highest return. So when you're looking at your channel report inside of Google Analytics, it might look something like this. What this shows you is all the different channels of traffic. So this shows you other, direct, display, email, organic, paid search, referral, and social. And it's really important as a business owner, as a CMO, as a marketer, that you understand every single channel and the channel contribution to your website, because that allows you to turn up the levers or turn down the levers if you need more traffic or if you need more revenue and or leads coming to your business. It also allows you to more closely monitor these things. So as you can see, each of those has a chunk of the pie, and it's very important to understand each one of those, as well as the mechanisms that drive those so that you can scale them up further. And those mechanisms have changed a little bit, and that's what we're going to go over next. In addition to that, understanding how these things are actually being reported. So maybe not just looking at last click attribution, but looking at a linear model is a very, very good option as well. But understanding that there's multiple touch points now within the customer journey. So somebody might come in through organic search, they come back through pay-per-click, they come back through social media, and then they finally convert via email. So all of those different touch points and aligning those with your different channels and making sure you understand that is very, very important. So what I just did is I went over very important things, and that's understanding your channels and how they're growing and the mechanisms that grow them. And now we want to get a little bit deeper and understand the SEO channel and what are the most impactful things that are driving the SEO channel this year, and then what should that channel contribution really look like going into 2019. And for that, we have no other than Alan Bush, who's going to jump in and tackle this question for us.
Great, thanks, John. So we feel that the channel contribution for SEO could be anywhere between 20 and 60% of your goals of traffic. So depending on your industry and depending on the leverage of how time on your website could change that value, but that's kind of the average here. We definitely want to focus on new visitors and growth goals. A lot of people will focus on sessions, but we want to focus on the new visitors. What are they doing? How are they interacting with your website? And our approach relates to content marketing, targeting your top terms, refreshing and refining old content, which I'm a huge fan of, and integrating with new technologies such as the AMP and Google Assistant, Alexa, all these things that are coming up when you're buying products for your home, and as well as page speed and the mobile first. This has all been really kind of reiterated throughout the year, and it's being we're going to predict that this is going to be a bigger thing in 2019. So when you're creating content, search engines are really focusing on the intent behind your content. So not just keywords. It's more about do your keyword research, but basically make sure that you're providing context and providing value to the user, not just search engines. So graphics, videos, as well as your optimized copy should load fast and provide value and entertainment or knowledge to keep the user engaged. Engagement is really a huge part of how people interact, and with the advances of machine learning like AI, RankBrain, they're really trying to figure out the intent behind your content. So you can't write copy for the sake of writing copy, write it with some intent in mind. And how we do this, we'll identify top target keywords and verify the pages that you want to rank for those top converting terms. So what the biggest thing that we've done really well for clients is refresh your content, add new content on those key pages. So either revise it or add more copy to that. Also supplement that with some kind of FAQs or links to relevant blogs that if you have on your website. And then when possible, add some other context like a video to keep the user engaged on that copy as well. And then we'll generate blog topics that revolve around these topics, so like sprout pages and link them back to those main pages. This is really successful. I find that this is a really big driver if you're really steadily pushing new content out there, new ideas, and then linking them back to your current pages that are ranking. You'll push your rankings up. Another big factor is that knowledge graph. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have seen this. We call it ranking zero. Basically, blogs should answer questions and address pain points users ask. I find that this is basically information-based queries, and this is also what leads to this ranking zero, the knowledge graph. The query that's on the slideshow right now is list of clothing stores online. This Fashionista website has a verified bunch of things that are going on here, and they will appear in these knowledge graph, and you're basically above everyone else on the organic rankings. Now, how this segues is that with this voice-activated search, the Google Home and Amazon Echo, it would be great to utilize that whole strategy to rank zero, because these are the queries that a lot of people are using when they ask Amazon and Google Home. So some of these queries actually that coincide with what they're asking are also things that are ranked zero in the search engines. Now, another big factor that I like to do is some quick wins for rankings is repurposing old content. Some of you might have websites that are a few years old, have maybe older blogs that did well back a couple of years ago but aren't doing so well now. Well, you can always repurpose those things and say, consolidate old blogs that have a similar theme, so you're not pulling authority away from each other. You may have a few blogs that actually tackle the same topic. Consolidate them or make it a new blog. And maybe you just no-index those old blogs and make that new blog basically a consolidation of the old one. Another way to do this is also to generate graphical representations of older blogs. So rather than tell the story with words, you may want to tell it with graphics, an infographic. For example, you can syndicate that infographic across multiple channels, and a different audience is digesting it a different way. One of my favorite things also is to do is the hardest thing to do is to build videos. So if you have a video that has some kind of audio context, you could convert a video into multiple streams. You could take a video and make an audio, maybe you make it a podcast. You transcribe the video, now you have a blog. You take that same idea, but the video has, and maybe some of the graphics that are on the video, and convert that into an infographic or a slideshow. So now you've just converted the same idea into 5 pieces of content that you could distribute across different channels and different networks. Use part of that video, cut it up into a smaller piece, put that on your social media. So now you could take this, again, same idea, but you repurposing it and getting seen in multiple streams of areas to syndicate your content. And again, we touched on mobile. Of course, this is a big thing for us in the last couple of years, but mobile indexing is rolling out faster than ever, and mobile users are on the rise. I mean, it just keeps going up from 2017, 2018. We're going to say the same thing in 2019. So your site must be mobile friendly. You don't have really a choice on this anymore, because people are getting mobile friendly, are getting ahead of you, and you may be penalized or indirectly penalized if you're not mobile friendly. So preferably with like a responsive design, because there's so many different technologies that are considered mobile. You have tablets, you have phones that are of large sizes, you have people that turn their phone sideways, and now you have a different view. So if it's able to respond to the ever-changing technologies, you're going to be ahead of the game. And then finally, you probably heard this reiterated as well, but page speed. Because of the mobile-first indexing, page speed has become an increasingly important part of site rankings. One of the cool tools we just kind of identified recently is that Google has this impact calculator, which allows you to compare your domain to other domains. So they'll give you a speed score and basically give you ways so you can increase your page speed. A lot of times it really involves shrinking text or shrinking scripts, and maybe even shrinking your images or making them more friendly to the mobile experience. But they'll give you a lot of different variety of ways that Google will like your mobile first indexing, and then it will give you ways to improve your website page speed overall.
So before we get into Dustin, just to reiterate on that channel a little bit, thank you so much, Alan, but we're looking at 20 to 60% of a mature website traffic should be from organic. You should be focusing on new users and keyword growth and conversions to your top organic landing pages segmented by landing page, and looking to focus on your top money pages. And we're going to show you our actual system later, or a glimpse of our system for getting things ranked #1, and then refreshing old pages and content on new pages. These systems work well. Our traffic is consistently up 10% month over month and hundreds of percents year over year, and that's the SEO channel. Next, and thank you very much, Alan. You went over some great stuff. Alan's going to come back in a little bit later when we get into some of our systems. We have Dustin, and Dustin, really excited to hear your insight on email marketing.
Very good. As we plan our email journey into 2019, let's check in with the data. And here's a study that we did recently where we looked at a handful of e-commerce brands that were mature in their organic and their paid and their email, and we looked at the relative contribution. And this is a line in the sand. You should be getting at least 25% of your digital revenue from email. Mature programs, that's what's happening now. This is going to only increase. And I've seen people across the board, oh, we only have 3. Oh, we started with you guys, and now we're up to over 45. There's quite a lot of potential in email, and I'm going to unpack that for you. with the 5 pillars to help you take your full email marketing advantage. I'm going to go through these with some examples, but they're advanced opt-in. The one-size-fits-all opt-in on your site, that's pretty 2014. In today's marketplace, there's custom, engaging, following up on the intent of why they came there in the first place to extend the relationship with email. Once you get them on the list, personalize automated emails for every step of the customer funnel. Send those full list campaigns every month. Mobile is the dominant device in the internet right now. Make sure you're mobile optimized. And we are going to talk about some testing, a big passion of mine. So let's take a look a little bit more about each pillar. The first one is, when somebody comes to your site, they're interested, they often screen themselves for intent on search, and then they had an experience on the site, and then they're about to get ready to leave. At that point, there's so much sunk cost. You've built the website, you've spent the marketing dollars, but there's one more thing that you can do that's like a catalyst that'll turn that one-time site visit into a lifelong relationship, and that's serve an exit-initiated overlay. Seen one here, and you can see below, our process here is to split test multiple different overlays and see where we're getting the highest opt-in rate. So you can see here, we've turned pretty much 100% of exits into over 5% email opt-in. Once you get them on in the list again, there is a huge host of automated campaigns that you can send out. And, we're looking at a study here of marketers that's actually developed these very important email campaigns that are, drip sequences. There's a lot left on the table for you guys to get value. I mean, most people are starting with the welcome series. Okay, you have a new prospect, but, nurture and add value and help people depending where they are in the funnel. So, welcome them online. Okay, they've, indicated purchase intent. Send that abandoned cart email. Nurture the customer process. Ask for a review. Ask for a second product to purchase. Continue to engage at every step of the funnel. Your automated campaigns, they're going to outperform your full list campaigns. You're not going to send as many, but they're going to be some of the most valuable emails that you send, especially over time. And looking at the data, marketers still have a ways to go to get that full email advantage by deploying these automated campaigns. So here's my prediction for 2019 for full list campaigns. You can see what's been happening in 2018. My prediction is that this is a trend that people are sending a little bit fewer emails, but they're collecting stronger engagement as a result. So I think people are going to send, 2018 they're sending 7 full list campaigns. I think they're going to send a little less and experience stronger response. And I think that trend of mobile, the days of desktop as a primary driver are over, and more people are going to continue to engage primarily through their mobile device. And let's talk about mobile a little bit. We're seeing, over 61% of opens happening on mobile. Yet so many of emails are primarily directed at desktop. What a misuse of resources. Only 39% of businesses are using mobile responsive email templates. What an opportunity to distinguish yourselves from your competitor and help your consumers and subscribers deepen the relationship. So testing is something that I am very passionate about. Email is a preference laboratory to uncover hidden subscriber insights that you're never going to know unless you test them. I've seen email test so many important elements to statistical significance and roll those best practices out to other marketing channels. So what's an ideal price point to derive response? What's the best discount amount? What kind of language can you use in subject lines to be most engaging? All of these things can be unpacked and proven through email. You know, a lot of businesses just kind of look over and see what a competitor is doing. Say, oh, let's try that. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But you can unlock significant strategic advantage when you really test to significance and understand consumer preference. You're going to have firsthand insight that nobody else knows. Here's some examples of our case studies. Increasing revenue by testing different offers, unlocking huge results from named tests, which is one of the most visible elements of emails. Email tests, template tests are unlocking huge order response. So here's my go-to guide for email in 2019. Test new engaging opt-in mechanisms. Grow your list faster. Once you get them on the list, send out those automated campaigns. Develop a new drip series every month. Send those full list campaigns. Develop a 6-month plan that looks at what you sent last year, what you plan to send this year, and incorporate those test results that are going to continue to increase your engagement. Keep going on mobile. Keep trying different templates. Try click to call. Mobile email has inherited so much with everybody on a mobile device because now we can drive them to a website or we can directly drive them to a consumer. Call center agents love these leads because they are in market looking for the services that you provide. And finally, split test these key points of engagement so you can get better and better and better. So here's how to track email in 2019. Here's a look into my email temple dojo. We like to look at open rate, click-through rate, bounce rate, unsubscribe rate, spam complaint rate, and we like to compare them to industry guides so you can understand where you're trending, where your strengths are, where your deficiencies are, and for every one of these metrics, there are actionable strategies to get better. So if your click rate is trending below average, test different templates, unlock that higher click-through rate. So thank you for email.
Thanks so much, Dustin. I have to tell everybody on the web, working with Dustin has opened my eyes to the amount that you can get out of email if you actually work on it and do these things. These are all actionable things that I would say 95% of businesses have never set up, nor do they know how to set up. Have they put in the time? Are they analyzing the data? Email is a great channel in that it's a lot like paid search, where it's very actionable, very data-driven. Dustin, thanks so much for that information. I think you really showed a lot of new ways that people can get into email and what they should be doing going into next year in just a direct ROI investment. Very interesting stuff. So next we have Soumya, and Soumya is going to be going over social media. And Soumya, you can go ahead and take us away.
Amazing. So here you'll see that the channel contribution for social media is around 10 to 30%. Let's keep in mind that these percentages revolve around organic and not paid social media efforts. So keep in mind also that they all depend on your industry and business. And to reach these percentages, you need to focus on giving your audience what they want. And what is that? Well, engaging content from brands they trust. Customers expect that companies are going to communicate with them in a way that they like. So it's vital for marketers to be aware of their customers' communication preferences when creating this content that they're going to digest through social media platforms. And social media can be used to generate and sustain brand awareness, interest, and credibility that they don't that don't have an expiration date. You know, nowadays people don't go onto Google only to look stuff up. They also rely on social media channels to find what they're looking for. So if someone is interested in learning more about your company, they're likely to open a social media platform and do a quick search to see what type of presence you have on each channel. And according to Statista, 70% of the U.S. population has at least one social media profile. And it was estimated that by this year, the number of worldwide social media users was expected to reach about 2.5 billion people. So with so many consumers using social media every day, this presents a great opportunity for businesses of all sizes who want to reach their online audience to actually reach it. And audience demand for that informative, engaging content has risen. So brands that lend themselves to beautiful visual content can benefit from making their content visible in Pinterest and Instagram, for example, by using relevant hashtags and properly categorizing their pins. So, I mean, the content that you publish on social media contributes to your brand personality and helps you demonstrate your brand voice. Through these platforms, you're able to make authentic connections with your leads and customers rather than just delivering direct marketing messages. Additionally, how are you engaging and using the power of other social media accounts that have your audience's attention is big. So developing relationships with influencers, journalists, etc., can lead to set account sharing your content, thus reaching another audience that is likely to be interested in your brand. So by collaborating with influencers who already have a good size following, you have the opportunity to expand your audience and gain a lot of new followers for your own account. So here you'll see, you know, several sides of a specific account that I've been working on. Not only are your customers on social media, but there's a good chance that many of them are checking these sites every day. There are many platforms, but today I'll be using Instagram as an example. So when using Instagram to grow your business, it's essential to build up an audience that is engaged and loyal to your brand. But how can you ensure that these followers engage with your posts and in turn help you grow as a business on Instagram? 3 words: quality Instagram content. You want to maintain a regular posting schedule, but don't bombard your followers with too many posts. Instagram is all about visuals, so aim to build a cohesive and recognizable brand identity. A visual social media report from Webdam found that 60% of the top brands on Instagram use the same filter for every post. By using the same filters over and over, you can establish a style that will become recognizable to your followers. So since your goal is to get Instagram users to stop scrolling once they see your image, the more instantly recognizable your photos are, the better. Last but not least, be strategic with your hashtag use. As previously mentioned, people go on social media to find things. Make it easy for them to find you by creating a branded hashtag for your business, accompanied by other hashtags relevant to your product or service. And so here you'll see my social media forecast for 2019. Live video, video content, contests, creative promotional campaign, and micro-influencers. The reason why consumers may be more receptive to your brand message on social media is because it allows you to be more conversational and show a different side of your brand. Like Instagram stories and regular Instagram posts, if you're able to drive a ton of engagement and viewers to your Instagram live video, for example, you can end up on the explore page, which will expose your business to even more people. So there's a ton of opportunity to actually make sales with Instagram Live. In fact, if you're able to promote your live broadcast beforehand by creating a sense of urgency around it, for example, offering a limited time only promotion, you can drive a lot of engagement and viewers on your live broadcast. Another great thing about Instagram Live is how flexible it is. You get to decide what your broadcast is about, whether if it's an educational Q&A or a workshop or a sales-oriented product launch. So the sky's the limit on both the content goal and your live broadcast. Why are marketers creating more video content? The frequency at which marketers are publishing video content online is not surprising when you consider an Animoto survey finding that 60% of 1,000 consumers surveyed watch branded videos on Facebook every day. Moreover, 64% of these consumers say watching a marketing video on Facebook has influenced a purchasing decision in the last month. And, you know, micro-influencers, these different to, you know, the traditional influencer that we hear of, have about 10,000 to 50,000 followers. And it's easier to strike a deal with them, maybe only in exchange for product, not even money, but only if you're selling a product that their audience will be genuinely interested in. That's why you need to make sure that you're only contacting influencers who fit your niche. And last but not least, my top social media tips include using Instagram, have a presence on it. Instagram's rise continues. Instagram recently announced that it reached 1 billion monthly active users after passing 800 million in September 2017, with 500 million daily users. Next to Facebook, Instagram is one of the most popular social networks for time spent on the platform, which means you have more time and a better chance of getting your business in front of your audience. Visitors often go to purchase items after visiting Instagram accounts. Since Instagram is such a visual platform, it cuts through the clutter and lets your product speak for itself. Instagram has endless possibilities for creativity. It allows for you to tell stories, get creative, and create a visual identity for your brand in a more real-time, fun way. Run contests, engage with your fans, and be consistent. Instagram is a fun platform, so don't be afraid to experiment and show your brand's personality. Also, talking about, social media platforms, LinkedIn. Whether you want to generate leads, build brand awareness, or establish strategic partnerships, LinkedIn can connect your brand with over 450 million professionals across the globe. Moving on to post consistently, have a calendar and a plan. Once you post, make sure to engage with your follower, even if it's through an emoji, a comment, or a like. Show that they matter and that they're being heard. Speaking of engagement, reach out and engage with influencers on a monthly basis. Keep your business top of mind in an effort to have them share your content, business, or product with their audience. And also, drive traffic to your social media platforms. Make sure a button is visible on your website and with easy to use logos that social media users instantly recognize. So there you have it. That's the perfect strategy for social for 2019.
Awesome. Thanks, Samia. Yeah, I think, what everybody really needs to realize is that you need to build up these communities, publish great content on your website, and then have a specific content strategy. Like it's almost like you're running your own TV channel that aligns with every single social channel, and you're consistently building the size of those communities, pushing out new content, and then boosting that content with paid media. And that's what really brings us into just an amazing field right now. We are working so closely with Google. We have some new stuff that we're going to show you today that you have never seen before, that I think will blow you away. And then Aether, our head of paid media, is going to try to unpack what has become one of the most complicated and rewarding types of digital marketing. There's so many different channels and sources. So with that being said, thank you so much, Samia, for going through that. And I know that's always difficult to do in a short amount of time, but I think you really hit some great highlights. And Aether, over to you. Take us through the ever-changing world of paid media.
Thanks, John. Yeah, as you alluded, there's definitely going to be some new things that we're going to be presenting today that you likely haven't seen before. The ad networks that we work with very closely are constantly innovating, and we're really excited about the new technologies that they're releasing, and understanding the best way to leverage those technologies to get the best results for clients going forward. A big part of that is automation, which to a degree maybe doesn't make it more complicated. It may seem like it makes it more simple, but at the same time, you need to understand strategically how to apply that automation to get the best results. So starting here with this slide, from the high level, we consider paid media typically to be something that you should expect 30 to 50% of your revenue, your digital revenue, to come from. And then further, we would definitely want to analyze performance of that revenue based on the profit that you're getting. And definitely to be understood that some of these networks that you see here are going to be more focused on lifting the brand to a degree and are not going to have the same profit margin that you're going to get from, say, paid search. But overall, some of those other platforms will help lift all boats and generate higher conversion rates from the more performance-oriented channels. So typically what we recommend is the following platforms that we specialize in here: Google Search, Bing Search, Facebook and Instagram, Google Display and Programmatic Display, YouTube, and then a number of other paid social platforms, including LinkedIn, Twitter, Quora, as well as Amazon, particularly if you're a retailer or a product brand. And as you can see in the pie chart there, Google is really the behemoth in terms of their total ad revenue. They make up about 42%, while Facebook makes up about 21%. So those are the two big components. And then we also have Bing at 4%, and Amazon has recently actually joined this list here at around 3 or 4% as well. So how do you approach this depending on your business size or business category or business where you are? Typically, if there's sufficient search demand, so this means that you're entering a business category or you're in a business category where people know what it is and they're searching for that type of product, and you can see that there's search volume for it, and there's enough search volume for within the budget that you have to hit your growth goals, then paid search is typically going to be the best channel for you to at least to start and really get the model figured out. And then once you got paid search working really well, then you want to expand to Bing. Bing does have close to 30% of the search market, and typically we see returns as good, if not better, on the Bing market as well. And it's pretty easy to mirror your campaigns that you're running on Google on Bing as well. So once you have that targeting creative model figured out and validated on Google, definitely move over to Bing. However, if you are a new product or service category and people don't know to even search for what it is that you offer or the category that you offer, then Facebook is really the best place to start because you can so granularly target your target demographic, make them aware of your product and generate an ROI there, and then start to build that search demand that you can capitalize on later. This is also going to vary depending on what type of business you are. So if you're a retailer or a product brand, your top channels, ideally, number one is going to be Amazon ads. If you're open to selling the product through Amazon, that's where you're going to get the highest conversion rates and the highest ROI. And then number two is going to be shopping ads on Google. And then number three is going to be Facebook, as well as the myriad of other platforms that you see here. If you're more on the lead gen side, paid search is really going to be your best focus as long as there's that search demand, or Facebook if there isn't that search demand, and then to scale to the additional platforms as you start to validate the model on those initial ad networks that we discussed here. So what to focus on in 2019? Well, as you can see here in the chart, from the paid media perspective, we want to focus on growing profit, and we can really be held accountable to that. Now, here are some of the levers that you can use over the next year to accomplish that. Number one, leverage machine learning and automation. This is a huge shift from the ad networks that we work with. They're making amazing advances in these technologies, and so make sure you're aware of what those new features are and that you're leveraging them to the best capability that you can. And the next piece is audiences. So it's not going into Google search or Bing search and just bidding on a keyword is not really the best way to do it anymore. Now we have the ability to add layered audiences to almost all different types of targeting that we can do, so that we can say that if a user is searching for a particular keyword and is also in this age range, or is also a parent and also owns a house, and we want to bid more for somebody that owns a house that does this search query, we can do that, and really is going to increase the efficiency of your ad spend if you take advantage of that. Third, maintain continuous experimentation. I think this is an old one that everybody's aware of, but I want to also make a point that it's really important. Don't get stagnant. Make sure you're always experimenting every month, every quarter, and taking advantage of some of the tools that are out there that help you do that. And we're going to go over that here in this deck. And then also make sure you're leveraging the new creative format. So every quarter, the ad networks are releasing new ways to present your brand in a text or an image in text or a motion graphic. And if you're taking advantage of that newest type of creative, you're going to get a higher engagement, a higher click-through rate on your ads, and ultimately a better return in the end. So starting with the machine learning and automation, here are a couple products that was released fairly recently that we'd like to call out. First one is Smart Display by Google. And Smart Display is really taking advantage of Google's machine learning. They actually call it Google Brain, and I believe it's the same technology that powered the AI that beat the Go player that got all that press a while back. So that same AI technology they're applying to the advertising. And essentially what you're doing here is you're uploading a number of different images, a number of different text components. You're telling Google, I want to get as many conversions as I can within this budget. Now go to work, essentially. And you don't have a whole lot of control. And then Google, and you may see some volatility initially, and it doesn't work for every vertical, but I definitely recommend giving it a try. So Google will automatically mix and match potentially billions of different combinations, the text and imagery that you provide on all the different placements that Google has access to, including Gmail, Google Display, and YouTube, and try to, through its machine learning, identify what is the best combination of imagery and text at different areas on the web and different types of users to get the best results for you. Smart shopping is very similar. So this is also very new. You give Google your product feed and you tell Google, this is my budget. Do essentially multivariate testing to identify what is the best combination of the 3 headlines that are available and the 4 descriptions for each particular user. And then finally,
Aether, just to jump in for everybody on the line. Yep. Sorry, I think we had a little blip there real quick. We lost our broadcast, but now we're back online. And now we lost it again.
So, John, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. You're back. So you can go ahead and continue.
Okay. Do we know what I was talking about when we went offline?
You were right at dynamic search ads.
Okay, sure. So what we intended here was responsive search ads, and responsive search ads essentially allow us to include up to 12 headlines and 4 descriptions, and the descriptions are actually longer now. They're up to 90 characters. And then we allow Google to automatically combine the best combination of the 12 headlines that we provided into a combination of 3, and combine with the 4 descriptions that we provided into a combination as well, to identify kind of a multivariate testing to identify what is the best combination, the best ad for each particular user. So that's pretty exciting as well. So it's a lot more real estate on the search result pages, which is great, and then also allows Google to kind of just iterate through a bunch of different combinations to see what's going to get the best results. And then finally, bidding automation. So this is something that we've had for quite a while with Enhanced CPC and Target CPA and Google. We've also recently there was a release for maximize conversions, which we think is pretty great. So you can tell Google, I want to maximize the number of conversions I have within the particular budget. And then we're really excited that Bing finally joined the club and added Target CPA this year as well. So There was a lot of limitations with that, and a lot of times we were using third-party platforms to allow us to bid for Bing. And now with Target CPA and Bing, that's really helping things out, helping advertisers out quite a lot. Okay, and then layered audience and bidding is really important as well. So Google also has similar audiences. This is very similar to the lookalike audiences that you use in Facebook. The relevancy of this has improved dramatically, and Google's done a lot of work to identify signals about users and behaviors to improve that. We now have detailed demographic targeting on Google. So this is really exciting as well. So it gives us the ability to target people based on their parenting stages, whether they're parents of toddlers, parents of teens, what is their household income, whether they're top 10% or lower 50%. Are they a homeowner? Are they a renter? Are they single? Are they in a relationship? Are they a college student? Are they a high school graduate? Are they in a company that has 10,000 people or a company with 50 people? Are they working in the financial industry or the technology industry? So this is the type of targeting that you had maybe at Facebook, and now we have that in Google, and we can layer that onto search as well. We also have in-market audiences, so we can layer that onto our search campaigns as well. So if somebody is in the market to rent an apartment, and then they're also happen to be searching for self-storage, for example, we can bid more aggressively for that particular user. We also have custom intent audiences. This is where we can say if a user has searched for a particular set of keywords, we want to create an audience of those users and then target them as they move around the web. So let's say somebody searched for Nike shoes and other similar variants of shoes. Then we want to serve them an ad when they go over to YouTube. We can do that based on the fact that they search for Nike shoes on Google. And then on Bing, this is really exciting. So Microsoft bought LinkedIn, and now we actually have, through the Bing platform, the ability to target people throughout the Bing Microsoft Audience Network based on the same targeting you have available with LinkedIn, which is job title, industry, and things like that, which is pretty cool. All right, and make sure that you're continuously experimenting. So we have Google Experiments. This is a really cool feature. So let's say you're running a campaign at Google and you don't know whether you should be using enhanced CPC or manual CPC and what's going to get the best results. You can use Google Experiments for that. Let's say you don't know whether you should be using target CPA or maximize conversions. You can run a test and you can figure out what's going to get the best results. And those are just a couple of examples of things that you could do with Google Experiments. We also have Google Optimize. So Google Optimize gives you the ability to do A/B landing page testing as well as multivariate landing page testing. So you can make 3 different variants of text and 3 different colors and 3 different call to action buttons. And then you can, if you have a whole lot of traffic, you can let Google Optimize iterate through all the different variants to see what's going to get the best results. Then we also have Facebook split testing, and Facebook split testing allows you to basically do a split and test a number of things, including target audience, delivery optimization, placements, creatives, and product sets. So this is pretty cool as well. Okay, and finally, make sure that you're taking advantage of new creative formats. So responsive search ads, we talked about that a little bit, but these allow us to essentially create more text within the ad that you're receiving on Google. HTML5 ads are really, you may have seen these quite a bit. So HTML5 ads allow motion graphics to occur within the ad. You can have a static background with rotating text. You can have start with a video and then transition to imagery. You can have an animation that reacts as you move your mouse around the ad. And many of you have seen these. These are HTML5, and highly recommend taking advantage of those in your display campaigns. The ad that you see here, the Geico example on the right, is called TrueView for Action. This is actually very new, and this allows you to essentially integrate a form into the video ad so that you can collect a lead right there without the user having to leave YouTube. I mean, this is really exciting. YouTube in the past have been a challenge because we weren't seeing a lot of people click through over to the website. They wanted to stay in YouTube. So with this access, we can now keep the user in YouTube but still collect a lead for performance advertisers. And then here we have Canvas ads. This is actually now known as Facebook Experiences, and this is really exciting as well. So this really almost gives you the ability to essentially create a website within Facebook. They're very complicated and time-consuming to set up, but it's really versatile on what you can do to get the best results. So you can create an instant storefront, you can create an instant form, an instant customer acquisition, instant storytelling, instant look back. There's a ton you can do with these new ads. So these are formerly called Canvas ads. They're now called Facebook Instant Experiences. And then finally, Creative Hub. So Facebook has released a feature that allows you to set up, basically create the ad, put it in the Creative Hub, and then you can share that with a business owner or share that with your client, and then they can make edits to it or approve it before it goes live, or you can share it internally at your company so that multiple people can work on an ad simultaneously. The issue before was you could create an ad, but it was very difficult to share what it actually looked like with someone else before it got published, and allow someone else to make edits to it. So definitely take advantage of the Creative Hub.
Really great information there, Aether. As everybody can see on the webinar, there's just so many different abilities in every single channel. It just shows you how important the digital strategy is, just within paid media, just within social media, just within email. I mean, there are so many different ways to approach acquiring customers online now. It's all about that specific digital strategy. Aether did a really good job unpacking just a ton of information in a very short amount of time. Thank you so much. Next thing we wanted to do is just make sure everybody's aware of some of the new technologies. So voice search, Google Assistant, Alexa, Google Home, and Google Home Hub that just came out at the new Google launch event. Integrating with AMP, chatbots, Facebook Messenger, Google's new ad lingo, all of these things are new, and they're things that people need to focus on. Voice search is going to be something that we optimize for SEO. It's going to be something that eventually will start returning ads. Google Assistant, building specific assistant-based apps that you can integrate with so that you can actually do transactions with an assistant and transactions with an Alexa. Google Home Hub and Google Home, those are going to have Google Assistant integrated with them. So this is a great new time to build this technology to be one of the first apps to integrate with Assistant, or one of the first skills to integrate with Alexa. You know, it's a wide open playing field. And then getting into AMP, you know, AMP is a great way on the search engine optimization side to now have stories that are actually showing on the mobile side of the search engine. So something that people should be looking at and putting the blog section of their website on AMP so that it's very fast, so that it gets served higher within Google, so that you get the coveted lightning bolts that show how fast your website is. And then getting into the chatbot side, which is kind of those last three bullets. So now you can have a chatbot on your website. You can have a chatbot within Facebook Messenger. You can do a transaction within Facebook Messenger from a chatbot that you've never even touched. There's the ability to actually even have augmented reality where you can try things on within this chatbot. And that's something that's never really been around before. And then just to take it a step further, the last bullet point is something that just came out that I am so excited about, and it's Google's new ad lingo. So what you can do now, within the next couple months, this is going to be rolling out, but basically you'll be able to serve an ad through the display network and have chatbot integration within that ad. So somebody will be able to click the ad, you'll be able to interact with that ad through a type of chatbot functionality, get to a point where it serves products within that own window, and you can eventually convert within that ad without ever even leaving the native platform. How amazing is that? So things are really moving into this automation direction, and AdLingo and some of these chatbots and other types of technologies are really interesting. And our company, we're committed to staying at the forefront of that. So now let's get into Ignite Visibility 3.0, which is kind of the last part here, but some really interesting things. So what we're doing and what we've done is we've systematized the entire company, and we're going to show you a sneak peek of a couple of our systems. But really what they are, they're ways to just to kind of make sense of all of these digital marketing abilities that are out there and bring them together in one place so there's a specific strategy, right? So we look at what is the digital marketing channel? What's the problem that we want to solve? How do we measure results? And how do we create specific strategies that fall under each service? We keep them updated every single quarter. And now we've got 15 core systems and 5 more beta systems. And really the idea is, how do you wrap your head around each of these problems that are in digital marketing. So for example, the Money Climber system. This is our system for getting web pages ranked #1 inside of Google and Bing. And Alan went over this a little bit, but FAQs, making sure you're adding blog posts, building up hubs of content, building links to these pages. We have a specific system for doing that. We also have a system called Growth Engine, so our content marketing engine. So making sure that you're always publishing new content like you see on the Ignite Visibility blog, so that we're creating more and more traffic every single month through organic search, but also going out through social media and driving people back to your website. I kind of call this phishing, right? So you throw the post out there on social media, you promote it, you bring people back to your site, you get them into your ecosystem, you capture their email address, you cookie them, you start remarketing to them, you start sending them emails, you get them into your automation. These things start kind of happening while you sleep. Rekindler, so reviving those old pages so that they don't just sit out there in this process, going back, looking at the pages that you have on your website that haven't had any traffic for the last 6 months, taking a look at those. Do we re-optimize those? Do we push those back to the top, or do we take those and redirect those and push them into one specific area so that that page that you're redirecting it to actually ranks higher? Thought leaders. So one of the other really cool things that we're doing a lot of now, and that you might want to integrate into your strategy this year, is actually doing studies. So it's the vision that we're doing studies on a quarterly basis, new data that you've actually gone out and polled hundreds and hundreds of people, bring that together, turn that into a study that's published by your business, allows you to manufacture press and be seen as a thought leader in your space. Local maximizers, so some of the best clients that we work with here, and we have a very diverse set of clients here at Ignite, but local clients, and having a specific program for this for SEO, conversion rate optimization, email marketing, and of course paid media, integrating that all together within a specific system. And then our Session 100 system, and Alan, you've been involved in a lot of website transfers, and I know this is going to come up with a lot of people on the call. How do you handle a website transfer? How do you handle a rebrand? How do you make sure it goes down seamlessly? Alan, do you want to talk a little bit about the Session 100 and what people should think about with website transfers this year?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's one of the biggest pushes because there's so many new content management systems out there. And when I said earlier about going to mobile, a lot of people may have to change their content management system. So basically, we basically take an export of all their traffic and then look at the analytics, SEMrush. We create new site maps for references. We basically optimize for a location or country or language if necessary. And it's really important that you don't lose the traffic from pages that are getting traffic. So you want to make sure you look at your analytics and verify if you're changing the URLs or changing the pages that you use a 301 redirect all those old URLs to the new ones that correspond with that. I think that's the biggest problem that I think people have. Another one I've noticed too is that we double check all the technical things, what I call the global SEO elements, so the XML sitemap, the robots file, your canonical tags. A lot of times people will change from HTTP to HTTPS and they'll forget about those elements. So all of a sudden you're telling Google to go back to the HTTP version of it. And we've had many people who come aboard that we've had to go and look and fix those things. So there's a variety of tools that will help us organize that data, understand where we're going with that, do one-to-one redirects if we need to, and really dig in and make sure we're addressing all those issues.
And then the last system that we're going to go over today before we go over a couple other things and then get into Q&A. And by the way, if you have any questions, please go ahead and put those in the chat and I will take a look at those questions and we'll answer them at the end. But Aether, tell us a little bit about this conversion integrator in this advanced process that we've set up.
Okay, sure. So what you see on the screen here might look a little complex, and it is to a degree, but this system is set up to kind of help streamline that process. And this is a very common issue for companies that generate leads that want to understand the true revenue or profit that they're getting from the individual keyword or the individual ad that generated that ultimate sale that occurred offline. So what we do here is we're able to pass a unique ID for every click that occurs on every ad and every channel and then pass that along, whether it gets passed through the call vendor into your system or gets passed through the lead form into your system, and then merge your data in your system where you're saying, okay, this click ID is associated to Bob Jones, and that's that lead that came in, and then your salesperson talked to Bob Jones and closed the deal. So that's great. So they've marked that up in your system, and then every day or multiple times per day, that data is getting sent back into our system, so we can merge that click ID back to the click that originated it and the ad that originated it, so that we can make more effective optimizations based on true offline revenue and profit, and more effectively optimize the campaign and report on what's performing for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Aether. Really cool thing, big differentiator. Business owners love it because you actually know if the sale was made, and then you can reintegrate it into your strategy. So to learn more, you know, about any of these things, you know, you can always send us an email. We're happy to speak with you. We've got a ton of questions that came in. If you'd like to connect with us, you know, check out the blog, the email newsletter, and then of course, you know, you can check us out on YouTube. There's also a podcast now on Stitcher. So let's dive into a couple of these questions. So first one, will you be sending a presentation over after the webinar, specifically on Ignite 3.0? No, we will not. We will not be sharing all of our systems for Ignite 3.0. In fact, all I showed you today was just the titles of them. There are specific ways that we do every single element of those systems that is just reserved for clients, unfortunately. We kind of allude to some of the strategies in our blog, and so you can kind of see some of the stuff there, but that's not something that we broadcast. The presentation, however, will be sent out to everybody who was on the webinar. So we had another question that came in. Are these tactics primarily for WordPress-based sites? No, we work with Magento, we work with Shopify, we work with ASP.NET, you know, we work with every type of That's actually one thing that's kind of interesting about our company and these systems. We work with every different type of platform out there. So we are not only tied to one platform here at Ignite. Okay, so next question. Could you talk about B2B automation in email and social media? Yeah, that's interesting. You know, Dustin, I'd like you to take that. And so talk to the group a little bit about what's a B2B automation campaign look like for email? And yeah, why don't you dive into that? Like, they want to set up the automation for the first time. How do they get involved in that?
Right. You know, let me clear up a little bit of a misunderstanding that I get so often. It's like, you know what, go buy a list and let's have at it. And, you know, most email value is derived from warm relationships where somebody comes to your site, you get the information, and now you're nurturing the process through a welcome campaign. And, you know, one of my favorite tactics for a welcome campaign that's applicable to B2B is, you know, communicate 1, 2 as the brand, and then your number 3, interject a sales agent email where, you know, there's a personalized face, answer common questions, put a great call to action to click to call. You know, we talked about doing studies, another great place to broadcast. Why even this webinar is going to be recorded and could be used in an automated email stream. Talk about the serpent eating itself. So those are some examples. You know, I mean, I think a lot of the examples that we shared about automated emails, from prospect to nurture to warm lead to conversion to retention to falling out of the cycle, are all applicable to the B2B space and largely direct to consumer as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Dustin. Okay, so next question: for a small business just starting out, what's the most effective route? If you could pick 2 to 3. So I think I could answer that one because I've done all the marketing from Ignite from when we started, and we were just me and my business partner and until now. And now we have great, smart people on this call helping with that, like Aether and Dustin and Samia. So we've gotten a lot bigger. It all depends on the business, but really, setting up those social profiles by yourself, starting to blog a little bit. And one of the really good strategies I like to do is write a blog and then involve the people that you want to do business with in the blog, kind of cover them, and then send an email to them, let them know that you've included them, they like that strikes up a conversation. That's kind of a good little hack for you when you're getting started. But if you're a brand new small business, those in-person meetings frequently are important. But then, setting up a really targeted pay-per-click campaign can also be very effective. And then I really like the YouTube stuff. So for a few $100s, you can get in front of thousands of people. It's actually very easy to use that interface. It's not super complicated. So those are some good places to start. And in addition to that, email marketing. So just collecting every email that comes in and adding them to a list, right? And then trying to start generating that list on your own through some of the opt-in stuff that Dustin said, and eventually building up that list, sending stuff out regularly. I'm not sure many of the people who are on this webinar, these hundreds of people who attended, are on the Ignite list that we've built up, and we send out that email every single Thursday. So there's a little bit of advice for you. And if you'd like to learn more, we actually have a beginner's marketing series on the Ignite Visibility YouTube channel that goes more into depth on those items. Aether, next question that we have coming in, it's on Bing. So does Bing now have all the same abilities as Google AdWords is the question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we've really been impressed with Microsoft and the Bing division particularly in the last year, in the innovations that they're making. But there's still a number of features, as you may have seen in the presentation. A lot of the audience integrate. Well, Bing does have audience integrations, but just to give a specific example, for example, Bing launched Target CPA, whereas Google has maximize conversion value, maximize conversion. So they have a lot more advances on the bidding automation side of things. They also have the advantage of having Gmail and YouTube and so much audience there, and much more impressions on the Google Display Network, and taking advantage of all the data across all of those to integrate with the search campaigns as well. So definitely a lot more advanced targeting capabilities still on Google, but we're very impressed in the strides that Bing is making recently.
Okay, and we have another question for you. Thank you for that. This question is around programmatic. When is the right time to get involved in programmatic? Is that a waste of money for some companies? Should businesses be doing programmatic? Is there actually the ROI return that a lot of these platforms claim?
Programmatic can work for some businesses, and you do have the advantage of being able to pull in a lot of third-party data. For example, just to give you an idea, like Facebook was so amazing and continues to be, but a lot of that had to do with third-party data that was plugged in that you could use as targeting in Facebook. So Facebook had made a decision after some of the privacy breaches to terminate some of that third-party data, but with programmatic vendors, you can get access to that. I would say, however, that I would recommend that you have you're a somewhat larger business, probably doing $5 million in revenue a year or more, before starting to venture into a programmatic as a component of your media mix.
Thank you. Okay, next question is around Ajax. There's been a lot of talk of the web moving towards these lightweight development frameworks. How is that impacting SEO, and how are we dealing with that? Alan, I know you and I have both worked on stuff like this. You're working with a large client on this right now, who we probably shouldn't name. But do you want to go ahead and talk a little bit about Ajax and JavaScript and kind of what's going on there in the SEO world?
Yeah, for sure. So right now, Google does not understand as much as we think they do. But however, there was a recent announcement by Google's John Mueller that said that they're going to be paying a lot more attention to JavaScript next year. So some of these low-end platforms, like if you have a high-end website that needs to have a lot of this JavaScript, we found, at least from my experience, that they say they understand most of it, but for the most part, there are some things that are hidden from them, and they don't have the ability to process it as fast as they'd like to. So there's a huge push right now for them to be doing that. I would expect that maybe early next year they'll make an announcement that correlates with what you're describing right there. If you have some kind of framework or things like that, I would just keep an eye on John Bueller, basically, because he's the one who's going to be making that announcement.
Yep, and the web is really moving in this direction, and so having that good HTML base is really the recommendation there, which I think Alan alluded to. Okay, next question. I think this will be our last one. So video. The question is on how do you maximize video across your different channels? And Samia, do you want to start on this one, and maybe I can kind of chime in, but maybe what's the best way to use video for Facebook and Instagram?
Definitely. So, I mean, both Facebook and Instagram are the two more popular platforms. And as mentioned previously, people are very engaged with this video. So creating compelling video that is going to be able to be shared through multiple platforms, may it be Instagram TV, Instagram Live, or, well, not live, but Instagram Stories, and your actual feeds. That's one way to maximize the use of video. Also, you can use it for ads, boosted posts, so you can really beef up all that use with one video only. If it's 60 seconds, you can edit it down to different size clips so that you can use it in different avenues, just mentioned. So one video can really, really bring you a lot of benefits and without having to really use much of a budget for it.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, that's a good answer. And then, so I would add to that. I do a lot of video stuff. You may have seen it. Generally, one long video. Chop it to a minute for Twitter, a minute for Instagram. It can be 10 minutes for IGTV. It can be 10 minutes for LinkedIn. It can be as long as you want for YouTube. And try to make that one video, push it out through all the different platforms and edit it for each specific platform, and then do a push. So what we do here, and the vision for the clients here as well as we continue to work and expand our video capabilities, but thinking of one video as a marketing push across every single platform and modifying it into that environment, and then having a promoted ad strategy around each video as well. So boost it, create the video, chop it up for each platform, boost it out, do advertising, and then continue that on a continual basis. And then thinking about that a step further, right? So the goal around each platform, how you're driving people back to the site. You're cooking them on the site. You're building your own audiences. You're using those audiences for remarketing, right? And then also for creating lookalike audiences inside of Facebook, and then similar audiences inside of Google, layering those audiences with the character